Good day to all. We are into the second class of sustainable engineering with the subject code MCN201. Today's class, we deal with social, environmental, economic, sustainability concepts. After that, we will see what is actually meant by sustainable development. Course is handled by Dr. Varghese Stulal, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology. Sustainable development. Development that means the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future generations is actual sustainable development. And the cost of the development is not transferred to future generations. The cost of the present generation is not transferred to future generations. Therefore, in order to maintain such sustainable development, we want to see what are the dimensions of it. Therefore, every sustainable development contains three dimensions. First is social, second one is economic, and third one is environmental. Social gives importance to human values, relationships. Economic gives importance to allocation and distribution of resources. And three, environmental gives importance to contribution of economic, social, and their effect on environment and its resources. We will see each one in detail. This is the pictorial representation of the three pillars which leads to sustainability. If any of the pillar goes wrong or if any of the pillar breaks, the concept of sustainability cannot stand. The sustainability will be fallen. Relationship between these pillars is deployed in this diagram. Therefore, the core part is economic sustainability, and it leads to another sustainability, or the second sustainability, which is mentioned as the social, and finally it is reaching the environment sustainability. Relationship between the three pillars of sustainability, in which both economic and society are constrained by the environmental limits. This figure represents the above mentioned statement. Now we will see what are all the facts in economic, again social, and third one environmental. Economic, it deals with efficiency and productivity. It can be an industry, it can be a community, it can be an organization, it can be a company. Again, energy efficiency is included in the economic. Third, employment and revenue generation, access, connectivity, and trade competitiveness, infrastructure development, and congestion. Social, equity and fairness, social inclusiveness and value, community involvement, health, safety, labor conditions. These are the factors contributing to social sustainability. And third factor is environmental, marine, air, and soil pollution, noise, vibrations, and biodiversity, air emissions, climate change impacts, resource depletion, land use. And in this diagram, we are able to visualize these pillars coincides. Economic pillar coincide with the social. Environmental pillar coincides with economic. And these economic, social, and environmental pillar coincides to reach the sustainable development. The sustainable development triangle. It starts with uh, economic, which is done on profit oriented, social equity, which is more focused on the empowerment of people, equity of people, participation of people among different groups, different class, different monetary standards. And environment concept is based upon the uh, preserving the whole planet, conservation of all resources, and proper resource management. Optimum use of the resource is important in environmental parts. The three factors, economic, social, and environmental, are mutually contributing to each other. That is the meaning of this arrow. Social. Equal access to social resources between current and future generations. I mentioned in the last class, lecture number 1, what do you mean by current generation and future generation? For example, if I am a person explaining a concept, I belongs concept to a class, I belongs to the previous generation, and you belong to the next generation. Three values of social sustainability are quality of life to all people, guaranteeing to all people, not guaranteeing to a particular set of group. Growth to all people, and equality. Economic, continuous improvement in economic well-being. Environmental, making decisions and taking actions that are in the interest of protecting the natural world. Challenges to the above mentioned three facts or three pillars of sustainability. Number one challenge is increasing population. We all know presently the world population is over 7 billion, and it is predicted that in 2024 it will reach 8 billion. That means 800 crores of people on the planet. And this population growth is a challenge to the minimum or minimal resources of the earth. Therefore, if we are not using the resources in a wise manner, it will cause a scarcity of resources for the future generations. Second challenge is pervasive land degradation. Third is water scarcity problems. And population living in water short areas will increase 90% in 2050. Challenge number 4 is global warming and climate change. Intergovernmental panel on climatic change suggested that the present temperature may be increased to 1.4 degree to 1.8 degree by another 80 years by 2050. 100. Fifth challenge is increase energy demand. As there is huge resource for energy, for industrial growth, for the normal functioning of the world, this increased energy demand will directly proportionate to the energy tapping from non-renewable resources like fossil fuels. Challenge number 6 is poverty. Challenge number 7 is unemployment and underemployment. Both are entirely different concepts. Unemployment means I am not able to get a job. Underemployment means I am not able to get a job to my educational qualifications or background. Or underemployment can be mentioned as I am working in a job profile, which is not suiting my qualification or skill sets. Therefore, these are the challenges that should be monitored thoroughly in order to reach sustainable development. This picture represents 54% of India faces high to extreme high water stress. Therefore, it is mentioned in red color. That means more than half of region is facing scarcity in water. These diagrams shows flood affected in Kerala in 2018 and flood affected in Chennai in 2016. Chennai flood casualty is 417 and 16 gone missing. Kerala flood 683 dead and 140 went missing. Sustainable development is our common future, also called Brundtland Commission report, prepared for the United Nations in 1987. United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development. Attention in the areas of population, food security, the loss of species and genetic resources, energy, industry, and human settlements are the major concerns addressed. But there are a lot of criticism to this Brundtland Commission report. One is into a very limited focus along the lines of what poor nations should do to become richer. This was a comment. And the answer is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. Sustainable development has the following three basic components. Number one, the question of ecology, natural resources, and global changes. Decades ago, rate of energy consumption was not so high, but as technology advanced and humans grew beyond control, the effects of ecological interventions in one place started affecting distant places on the globe. Two, the question of solidarity and justice between the present and the future generations. and between developing and developed countries, among individuals with a common interest, mutual support. Number three, the question of economic growth and regulation, production, consumption. Sustainable engineering as the branch of engineering using which uh, sustainable development can be achieved. Here, engineers play a crucial role in improving living standards throughout the world. Engineers can have a significant impact on the progress towards sustainable development. To lead sustainable development, engineers must think differently and use a different design mentality. That is the main reason why sustainable engineering is introduced to engineering students across all disciplines in our university. Role of engineering community. Secretary General of the 1992 United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, sustainable development will be impossible without the full input by the engineering professions. That is, engineers to conceive, design, realize, and ensure maintenance of eco-friendly and efficient transportation system, toilets, pest control devices, and processors, etc. Most engineering achievements of the past were developed without consideration of the social, economic, and environmental impacts on natural systems. We cannot afford this system for the coming time. Examples are fossil fuel based products and services, river sand based constructions, energy consuming processes, etc. These three domains are seen by many as three pillars on which the structure of sustainability stands. If any of these three pillars gets weak, the whole structure of the sustainable development collapses. This thing I mentioned earlier. Social dimensions is related to human values, relationships, institutions, worker health, safety, equal opportunity, quality of life, impact on local communities, benefits to disabled. Social concerns vary depending on the geographical, environmental, and economic domains of society. While doing development projects, protection of human rights, human health, child mortality, food security, respecting the views of beneficiaries and victims of development, sharing of vital information. Transparency of thought and planning process, participatory approach in decision making. In developing countries, poor sections get inadequate health care, education, and family planning services. Best method of checking countries' development is to check the social indicators. Literacy rate, again, may altogether in India it is 74.4, male 82.2 and female 65.5. High school graduation rate, high school dropout rate, percentage who receive higher education, number of homeless people, substandard housing people, total population change, population distribution across geographic region. Student teacher ratio, crime statistics by age, gender, type of crime, ratio of local law enforcement to public, percentage of population below poverty line, illiteracy level, number of births to women without 12 years of education, library circulation rates, and the gender ratio is 943 females for 1000 males. Graph showing literacy rate in India from 1951 to 2011. Male is represented in green and female is represented in blue color. Figure showing Indian population density map. Here we are able to visualize the population density is high. This Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal. Kerala also density is high. Economic dimension. This system is human initiated and it is initiated for to production, trade, distribution of goods and satisfy needs of community. Here we are going to familiarize two terms. First one is macroeconomics and second one is microeconomics. Macroeconomics, large scale operations of economy, overall production of goods, services, unemployment, money supply and inflation, national development and balance payments. Microeconomics deals with operations of particular industry, prices and production process. Regarding sustainability, the following points are to be considered. First one is continuous improvement in economic well-being. Second point is creation of new market for growth. Third point is investment in infrastructure. Fourth one is greater economic equality. So, if we are mentioning the economic growth or economic development of a state, economic development of a country, economic development of a metro city, we will mention it as by the term macroeconomics. What are the large scale operations happening there? Services, money supply, and inflation, we will mention it as macroeconomics. If we are dealing the same economic aspects of a particular industry, for example, automobile industry, for example, textile industry, we will mention it as microeconomics. The points to be considered apart from these 4 points are efficient use of renewable resources, cost reduction through efficiency improvements, renewable energy and raw material input, creation of value-added products, protection of commercial rights, reducing international trade barriers, green business opportunities, accountability and responsibility of economic decision makers, sharing of commercial information, transparency of thought and planning process, participatory approach in developing economic policies, fair and equal access to information and knowledge. The economic growth for a state or a country is developed through a mechanism called GDP measure. And this GDP measure helps to measure the economic output of the country. Earlier, we are able to cross the economic growth in GDP measure over 8.2%. and it happened in 2013-14. Now we are maintaining a growth around 5%. Below written potential economic indicators link between social and economic sectors. Unemployment rate, distribution of income, sectoral distribution of jobs, distribution of housing, median value of land, net change in number of jobs, age distribution, vacancy rate in housing and commercial structures. Coming to environmental aspects, Brundtland said, the environment does not exist as a sphere separate from human actions, ambitions, and needs, and attempts to defend it in isolation from human concerns have given the very word environment a connotation of naivety in some political circles. But the environment is where we live. In fact, we are part of the environment. The word environment means surroundings. It refers to both abiotic and biotic environments. Human beings interact with the environment more vigorously than other living beings. Interactions aided by modern technology keep disturbing and destroying the environment. Example, clean air, safe drinking water, renewable energy, and some environmental issues are localized. Example, land, soil, forests, etc. Elements to be considered in development. renewal of renewal of natural resources and natural systems, renewal of energy, renewal of materials, renewal of food resources, reduction of environment footprint, accountability and responsibility of environmental decision makers, sharing of vital information on global environmental changes, transparency of thought and planning process, participatory approach in environmental production. Some environmental issues originate from social factors. Example, rapid increase in population. Best way to make a relevant database as environmental indicators. Number of clean air days, minimization of waste, nature-based environmental designs, percentage of population without potable water, percentage of population not on sewers, percentage of prime agricultural land, percentage of population using public transportation or carpooling, households participating recycling programs, tons of per tons per capita of solid waste generated annually, tons of hazardous waste generated annually, tons of toxic releases annually, number of environmental education classes in public and private academic institutions. Technological aspects of sustainable development. Sustainability metric. And it is a standardized set of measurements or data related to one or more sustainability indicators. And this measurement is based on verifiable data and is used to communicate important information to decision makers and public about sustainable development. Another term, sustainable indicator, and its measurable aspects of economic, environmental, social systems for monitoring human and environmental well-being. EPA or Environmental Protection Agency. By this Environmental Protection Agency suggested 4 categories of indicator outcomes. First is first indicator is adverse outcome indicator or AOI. Destruction of value due to impacts on individuals, communities, business enterprises, or natural environments. 2. Resource flow indicator RFI indicates pressures associated with rate of consumption of resources, materials, water, land, energy, etc. 3. System condition indicator indicates the state of the system in question. Individual, communities, business, enterprises, natural environment, etc. 4. Value creation indicator indicates the creation of value, both economic and well-being, through enhancement of individuals, communities, business enterprises, natural environment. With this, we conclude to second class or second lecture on module 1. Thank you.